an info session that I hope that you will take seriously good notes because this gentleman is a renowned expert in what he does. So, first of all, Mr. Roberts McDowell is a dad first, and his mission is to inspire, empower, and transform the lives of families ready for change now through generational transformation to find their purpose, create wealth, and live an extraordinary life. He is a certified information security service professional and living benefits specialist. But it was not always like this. He had a death near experience, could not work, and even lived his babies for over 4 months. Suffered a major financial loss, and through a life, sorry, my screen just blanked out. And through, like most Canadians, he was fully covered with life, car, home, group, and benefits from his wife's workplace. The deck of cards crumbled and his blind spots were exposed after his being hit by an airbag on Highway 401. He soon learned that he had nothing that would pay him tax-free cash so that he could pay his bills, mortgage, car, home, life insurance, food, and diapers for his kids. He realized that most families have the same blind spot, and they are simply unaware of how vulnerable their financial house is, and they are only one sickness or accident away from financial ruin without living benefits. So now Mr. Roberts McDowell, he dedicated his life to help families bulletproof their financial future, find their purpose, create wealth, and live an extraordinary life. So, ladies and gentlemen, you have a gentleman that's a family man of 3 beautiful children and a beautiful wife, and he's here to serve us and to inform us and help us to uncover those blind spots that we didn't know that we have. So you want to make sure that you don't have the same blind spots. So thank you for coming on to find out what we're going to be sharing to you tonight. And please, again, take good notes. And please, at the end of the info session, please ask him many questions, drill him. He will answer all your questions, and so that he can help all of us. So, Mr. Roberts McDowell, thank you for being here tonight. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for taking this time out of your evening. You could have been anywhere in the world or doing something different with family or friends, but you chose to be here, and I believe you chose powerfully to listen to what Mr. Roberts McDowell has to share with us. So, Mr. Roberts McDowell, take it away, sir.
All right, Mr. Lane, thank you very much. I appreciate the warm introduction, and I'm always humbled about hearing that again, just living through that experience and being able to serve each and every person here. And this is what I want to talk about tonight. It's what we call Life 101, because I think we can all relate to this. Because you know what? It applies to each and every person on this call. See, in life, we all want to retire at some point, right? I love the beach. I don't know about you guys if you want to retire on, in some mountain somewhere, or however. I personally love the beach. So retirement in itself is, a privilege. It's not a right. You can retire tomorrow morning if you had enough passive income and all that stuff to be able to retire. You can definitely do that. However, I always say it's a privilege to be able to retire. So that's the end goal. Now, in order to retire, we need something, right? We need savings. So whether it's your investments, real estate, crypto, whatever it is, you need some sort of savings, right? To be able to fuel and fund that retirement. And how do we get those savings? Well, for the most part, people start out working. We all start out working. We're all working, right? And why do you work? Well, we all work to be able to earn money because we all have one thing in common for sure, right? And that's a lot of bills, right? We have bills, and bills that come fast and furious. Bills never stop. So we all have to work. We have to pay bills, and if we have money left over, it goes to savings, right? That's the common life for most people in Canada these days. So let's just talk about it. There's only 2 things that I found that can mess up this cycle. And for my introduction, Mr. Lane has actually shared one of them. I don't know how many people have actually been hit by an airbag, but you know what? That's been my experience. And I know for sure from experience that these two things can really mess up the cycle. So there's an accident and there's a sickness. Okay? So what happens if there's an accident? What happens if somebody gets sick? Well, guess what? We know for one thing, if it's bad enough, you're not able to work. And if you're not able to work, then what happens? We know for sure that your bills, they never take a vacation. They always stop working, they always continue. Bills continue no matter what. If you take a vacation, when you come back, sure the bills are there, right? So bills continue. And if you're not able to work, if you're not able to earn that money, then guess what? You're going to need some sort of help. Now, basically, what's going to happen is you're going to start, maybe you have to self-insure if you don't have any type of coverage. You've got to deplete your savings. And of course, for most Canadians, they're going to increase their debt load, especially with life as it is right now. So this poor guy here, unfortunately, he never expected his retirement plan to be like this little sign here. People are living longer, not necessarily healthier. And you see what's happening in the marketplace. Some people are actually working and they're forced to work even past retirement. Right? So it is a lot of stuff to consider, especially these days. And we have to make sure that we are properly protected. So I want to talk about how can we protect that whole retirement concept, being able to travel, being able to retire, being able to go on a beach, pension, whatever it is you want to do. Okay? I believe that there's 3 ways to be able to do that. And the best way to protect your retirement is actually to protect your savings. Yes, if you can protect your savings, whether it's those investments, everything, you can protect that. You can protect your ability to pay your bills. You can actually protect the savings. And if you can protect the savings, then of course you can retire. Those are 3 things that happen. You can protect your ability to pay your bills. Guess what? You'll always have those savings. Savings will be there for the set purpose, which is for your retirement and for buying all the stuff that you want. Right? And if you can protect that savings, definitely you can protect. But let's just talk about the status quo. Now, this is the ideal goal. You want to be able to protect that retirement. And let's talk about what I call the status quo. Most as an advisor, most clients that I talk to each and every day, what is it that they have? Right? So you want to be able to do this. Most times, I find that people have life insurance, and when does that really pay? When somebody dies, right? Somebody got to pass away. It's really a death benefit. For the most part, life insurance pays when somebody dies. Then what's the most common thing you have? Car insurance. Car insurance is there, and like one of the things that I learned through my car experience is that guess what? Even if you have the top-notch car insurance policy and everything like that, it's definitely not necessarily going to pay you right off the bat. It may take, I'm not saying it doesn't pay, but it may take a while. Like mine took like 2.5 years before it paid, right? So people think, that big liability insurance that they have on their car, like $2 million, $1 million is going to be there. Well, it's debatable. Then, of course, what do we have? We have the home insurance. Why it's called car, why it's called home. One is for the car, one is for the home, right? And the home insurance is for fire, flood, theft, all that. Fire, flood, everything like that. Then you have business insurance. What's business insurance for? Liability for the business, similar to home and car. Fire, flood, theft. And then what else do I find that's very, very popular? Okay. You have WSIB. Oh, great. WSIB is great. It's better than nothing. If you're in the trades and all that stuff, you have WSIB. It covers you 8 hours per day on the job only, right? 8 hours per day on the job only. What happens if you're playing at the park with your kids, or you're off work doing some recreational activity, all that? So those are what we call blind spots, right? Those are blind spots. And then the most common one that I get every day is my all-time favorite one, and this is group benefits. Group benefits, you have massage, acupuncture, prescription drugs, dental, vision care. Sounds familiar? Yep, I know you know what it is. However, I like to be like mad scientist in a lab, and I want to test it, right? So when I put my testing scenario in, I say, hey, can you go to your dentist? I want you to play with this for a little. can you go to your dentist and actually ask your dentist to give you like $2,000 to whether pay your mortgage or pay your rent or pay a bill that you have that's mandatory? Because I know that in Life 101, all those bills that we have, or car insurance, life insurance, home insurance, all those bills, primarily buying food for the kids and, paying the mortgage, paying the rent, those are mandatory bills. They don't stop. And you can't use your dental plan to pay that. You can't use your vision care plan to pay those things. They don't pay that, right? And even if you're in a semi-private room, that money that you're losing from not going to work, especially if you're a self-employed tradesperson, you've lost all that money, right? So it's great. Sometimes I hear the scenario where my wife works, they have the group plan, and they're within that whole scenario where, you can get a semi-private room. Yeah, you're a plumber. Imagine you're a plumber and you're in a semi-private room in a hospital, for example. Are you making money from plumbing? No, you're not. So these are, again, blind spot that a lot of people don't think about. If you're a tradesperson and you broke a finger, can you actually work? I don't know. Depends, right? So these are the things that we want to think about, and most people don't think about it. These are all blind spot, and that's what I think about when I think about group benefits. It's great to have. It's like that gravy on rice, but it's not going to pay those bills, right? So that's most important. So here's the solution. What's the solution to this phenomenon? The solution, I believe, is what is called living benefits. What are living benefits? These are benefits that pays you when you're alive. And why do you need to be paid while you're alive? Because guess what? You need the money now to pay your bills. Bills never stop. They never take a holiday. So we need to pay our bills. Okay? So that's important. So let's just talk about the company that we represent and the company that's actually changing the landscape of the industry. And that company is called Combined Insurance. They're actually Combined Insurance. So let's just talk about Combined Insurance for a moment. Maybe you haven't heard about it, but most people probably haven't heard about Combined Insurance. However, we started in 1922, believe it or not. Combined was started in 1922 by Philip Clement Stone in the United States, and it was launched in Canada in 1956. So imagine this. We've been serving Canadians for over 60 plus years. So if you haven't heard about Combined before, I want you to really give that person who invited you, really give them a high five, really thank them for inviting you today because they really cared about you to be able to show you about what Combined is all about. Okay? Because those needs we talked about in Life 101 existed since 1922, and we specialize in solving them. So where have we been? We have been doing or protecting farmers since that time. Our niche has been, we're the company that protects the farmers whenever they get sick and injured from losing the farm. That's been our specialty, right? After that combined tractor there. So we're actually a global company, and we've served millions of policyholders around the world in 10 countries over 90 years. So we actually celebrate our 101 anniversary this year. Last year I remember all the celebration, their 100th anniversary. Time flies. Now, what we actually specialize in, we specialize in accident insurance. We specialize in sickness insurance. I believe that's our flagship product. And of course, we have some stuff that complements other products, like you've heard about critical illness already. However, we have some exclusive lifetime products that, stay tuned, I'm going to talk about soon. We have a little bit of disability, a little bit of life insurance. And of course, most importantly, we're owned by a big company called Chubb. Who is Chubb? Chubb is the largest property and casualty insurer, publicly traded property and casualty insurer in the world. Been around since 1882. That being said, we have very rich grandparents. Not much I can say. Now, we also have rated A+ Superior by AM Best. And AM Best is like a third-party organization that rates companies based on the reliability of the insurance company, their financial strength, and the rating of their management. So we actually have an A+ Superior rating. When my kids come home with an A+, I'm a happy dad. So, we pride ourselves on the fact that we have an A+ Superior rating. All right. So do we actually pay claims? That's what most people want to know. Do we pay claims? Well, I can tell you for sure that we pay a lot of money. And we continue to pay claims each and every working day. So we've paid over $26.3 billion since 1922. That's a lot of money, right? And we continue to grow significantly each and every day. In 2020 alone, we pay over 2.5 each and every working day. So every day, like a day like today, we're paying at least 2.5 million. And in Canada alone, we paid 106 million in benefits in Canada. So let's just talk about, and I got a question for you before I can deep dive into it. My question to you is, we've outlined some blind spots here, right? We're uncovering those blind spots for you. And how would your finances be affected if you couldn't work due to an accident or an illness right now? I want to pause for a moment. How would your finances be affected if you couldn't work due to an accident or an illness? Would you have to fire sale some property? Would you have to dip into your line of credit? What would you have to do? Right? It's crazy. My recommendation is simply living benefit. Now let's talk about living benefit a little bit. So we're talking about an accident and sickness policy. This is one of the first things I'm going to talk about. We have accident only, we have sickness only, and we have both accident and sickness coverage. My recommendation for all my clients is ideally, hey, listen, the company allows you to buy accident, and they allow you to buy sickness by itself only. However, that's like walking in the rain with a half of an umbrella. It's like being 50% covered. Hey, I don't think that's a good idea. So my recommendation is always have kind of a full umbrella, right? An accident and a sickness policy. That makes sense because there was only two things, like I said before, that can mess up the cycle: an accident and sickness. You never know which one's going to come. There's no medical examination. The accident's automatically issued. So as long as you're between 6 months, 6 to 9 years old, you actually qualify for it. No medical. And of course, for the sickness, it's a simplified questionnaire for that. Now let's just talk about hospitalization plan, how it actually works. This hospital confinement benefit is the first feature, which pays up to $300 per day for each day. Starting from the very first day, the person is in the hospital up to 1 year, and there's no waiting period. What I mean by that, no waiting period. Like disability plans, usually you have to wait 30, 60, or 90 days. This is a plan that actually kicks in from day one, and it's true what we call no income verification required, and it's what we call supplemental benefit. So what Combined specializes in, it's a new word for you, it's supplemental benefit. Pays on top of WSIB, pays on top of EI, pays on top of disability, pays on top of all other types of insurance. And that's what's most important about it. It protects you until age 85, and it's also 24/7 coverage, 365 US and Canada. So remember I talked about WSIB, only 8 hours per day on the job, for example, right? This is 24/7, 365, so it's always on. You're qualified from 6 months to 69 years old. And most importantly, especially with this accident policy, there's no occupational restriction or dangerous activity restriction. So a guy could be a bomb diffuser, right? He could be, riding the rodeo and Calgary Stampede. It doesn't matter, right? No occupational restriction. I think that's huge. Now let's talk about the feature B, which is daily ICU, intensive care unit. Well, you know what? If somebody gets into a car accident, for example, and the jaws of life cuts them out, and, it's really intense, people don't choose to actually go to an ICU. They actually wake up in an ICU, right? God forbid somebody wakes up in an ICU. We have a separate rate that we pay for ICU, which is $1,200 per day. Now, imagine, like I said, I've never seen anybody in an ICU without being in a hospital. So that's 1,200 plus 300. That's 1,500 per day in an ICU. It's a lot of money, right? And this pays from the very first day up to 1 year. There's no waiting period for that. So here's how the math works here. 10 days in an ICU, for example, at a rate of $1,500 per day, that's $15,000. 30 days in an ICU at a rate of $1,500, that's $45,000. 100 days in an ICU, that's $150,000. That can be tax-free. That's amazing. So my question to you is, can your savings survive 9 weeks in an ICU? This poor guy here, he was one of the first guys in the Toronto Star when he came out. He had COVID-19, and he was hospitalized in the ICU for quite some time. I'm sure he could actually use that much money, right? It's a lot of money he missed out on. So we just went through COVID. How many people here have a sickness plan that covers them, for ICUs and all that stuff? It's important, especially going forward for our future. Now, let's talk about the recovery benefit following hospital confinement. This is important because this here is an additional feature And I want you to pay attention to this because this is this is one of my favorite features on this plan. Because even though it has a rate of $300 per day, we're not just going to pay you $300 for one day, right? Like, we actually pay you what was called a recovery benefit. The company understands that if somebody's in a hospital for one day, they need time to recover. And that's what's important. So they're going to pay 10 days of recovery. So once you're hospitalized, then there's a 10-day recovery benefit plus the day that you're in. So essentially, you pay 10 days recovery, and after 3 days, we pay 3 times the number of days a person is in the hospital. So how this looks is like this. So imagine a person is in a hospital for 1 day, minimum 20 hours, for example, right? So we pay 10 days recovery plus that 1 day. That's 11 days times 300. That's 3,300. Yes, I said it. $3,300 for 1 day. Do you have anything in your portfolio that would pay you $3,300 for 1 day you can't work? Think about that for a moment. Next thing is 2 days in the hospital using the same math. That's 2 days, 10 days minimum recovery. We still pay that 10 days minimum recovery for the first 1 to 3 days. So we pay you 12 days times 300. That's 3,600. 30 days in the hospital, 3 days times same math, 13 days total times 300. That's 3,900. Now, like I said, it gets better. After 3 days, if your doctor says you're still totally disabled, we're going to pay 3 times the number of days in the hospital. So imagine this. The person is in the hospital for 5 days. 5 days is 15. 15 days of recovery. Yeah, that's the recovery now. It jumps from 10-day minimum to 3 times that amount. So now 15 days recovery plus the 5 that's in. That's 20 days times 300. That's $6,000 for 5 days in the hospital. Imagine 10 days would be $12,000. 30 days would be $36,000. And 100 days is $120,000. That's insane. You're probably starting to say, hey, too good to be true. Well, guess what? We've been doing this for the last 100 years. Believe it or not, we're a 101-year-old company. So we specialize in this. That's why we're able to do it. Now, let's talk about the fact that here's another scenario for you. So I want to show you how having a separate ICU rate is so important. Because imagine somebody's in a hospital for 100 days, but 30 days out of that, they're in the ICU. Well, remember we said there's a separate rate for ICU, so 30 days times 1,200, that's 36,000. 36,000 plus the 120, that's $156,000. Yep, I know what you're saying. Sounds too good to be true again. Hey, we've been doing it for 100 years. All right, so this is why the farmers love our plan, right? The next thing is outpatient surgery, recovery, or fracture. So the first couple of ways that I talked about is ideally if somebody is hospitalized. But I get this question always. Hey, so this only pays me if I'm hospitalized? No. Well, Feature D says no hospitalization is required for this part to be triggered as long as you have an outpatient surgery, recovery, or fracture. Those are the key words here. So like a broken arm, broken leg, or even fractured tooth. Even my daughter got paid on a fractured tooth bite. I'll tell you this one, couldn't believe it myself. She had a lollipop and she fractured her tooth, and we got paid $1,200. Right? So imagine this: 14 days times 300, it's up to $4,200. That's what I mean by that, right? So this pays big time. On ambulance reimbursement, we pay up to $600 for the ambulance. So I don't know where you live right now, but usually if I take, anybody takes the ambulance, it's not for free. OHIP doesn't cover the ambulance cost, believe it or not. They actually send you a bill for the ambulance. When they send you that bill, you submit it to us, and we can recover. We can reimburse you that cost, right? So my question to you is, how much do you pay to insure your house right now? I pay $1,000 to insure my house, right? I'm sure a lot of you pay $1,000 to insure your house. And then how much do you pay to insure your car? Well, car insurance ranges. It's crazy. Especially when I talk to young people these days, they're like, wow, maybe $500 to insure their car. I don't pay that much, but that's $500 is a lot to insure a car, right? So your car is insured, your home is insured. My question to you is, yeah, we know car and home is mandatory, and of course, you pay it every month without even blinking, thinking about it. But imagine, who's your money-making machine, right? You're your money-making machine. What if you can't work? Who's going to pay you? That's an important question, right? So look at all these features. My question to you is, how much do you pay to insure yourself? Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm paying $1,000 to insure my car, my home. For some people, insure their cell phone cable. You can get all insurance on almost everything. But you're the money-making machine in your family. How much do you pay to insure yourself? So it's only $56 per month. After I've shown you this price, this is almost like there's no excuse not to have a plan. So actually, when you think about it, that actually works out to be what? $1.86 per day. That's $56. It's $1.86 per day for the top plan here. Okay. Now, if the top plan is still too expensive for you, well, we can cut that in half. So you cut the price in half, you cut the plan daily benefit in half. So as you can see, instead of $300 per day, it's $150 per day. And likewise, our minimum plan starts at $14 per month, which is $75 per day is the rate at which it pays. Okay, so it actually looks like this: $56 at a rate of $300 per day. 1 day in the hospital, $3,300. 10 days, $12,000. 30 days, $36,000. Half of that is half the benefit, and of course, the minimum plan. Even on the minimum plan at $75 per day, 1 day can pay you $825. And 30 days, God forbid somebody's in the hospital for 30 days at that rate, $9,000. So that's a lot of money for 50 cents a day. Now let's talk about our accident coverage in terms of family plan. Remember, Mr. Alain said I'm a dad first, right? So of course I have a beautiful wife and gorgeous wife and 3 kids. And this is exactly what my family looks like in terms of our plan. We have a family coverage. We have a plan 3, which is $136. And why is that important? Because if I had to pay $56 for all 5 of us, that would have been $280. But what I love about Combine is the fact that we actually get a family discount. Not because I work for the company. You can get that also. Because with our family discount, it's like it's unlimited kids for the same price. Right? Unlimited kids, you can add it. I always joke around about the Duggar, Mr. Duggar. I don't know if you ever watched TLC, but that guy who's 19 kids and counting, he could actually insure his entire family, 19 kids and counting, at the top plan for $136. That's how crazy this is, if you can wrap your head around it. The other thing is, minimum plan, that's only $34. That's $1.12 per day for an entire family, unlimited kids. So let's keep going. Are you concerned about the 4th wave? I don't know. Will this be the last pandemic? Nobody knows. So that's why I believe this part here, my caveat is simply this. A lot of people take their health for granted. But I want to say one thing. It's not your money that qualifies you for our sickness policy. It's your good health. Because our definition of sickness is simply this. It's any illness, any disease, including complication due to pregnancy, which means it includes COVID-19 and all future pandemic. See, this is why when COVID rolled around, I don't know about you, or for my family, we value our sickness policy even more. I think it became more priceless. We put it in our safety deposit box. Why? Because it has any illness, any disease, including complication due to pregnancy. That is huge, right? That means last pandemic, COVID-19, any future pandemic, we're covered. That is insane. You got to take a note of that. If you get nothing else, this is one thing you want to know. And it's a simplified questionnaire, right? No medical, no blood test, no nothing. It's just a simplified questionnaire. And it simply looks like this. Hey, in the last 5 years, have you had any of these conditions? Right? Weight check. Have none of those conditions? Guess what? You're covered. Awesome. It's that simple. Now, we also have family plans in this sickness coverage. And children are automatically covered at birth with no proof of insurability. That means we can cover pregnant moms, right? We can cover pregnant moms, and newborns have automatic coverage at birth. And it's important. As long as we can definitely cover pregnant moms, for sure. And it's important I remember one mom that we covered, she got paid $33,000 and nobody got sick or hurt. All they had was a premature baby. Baby was in the ICU, and you remember how much I paid in an ICU? $1,500 per day in an ICU. Do the math. All right, they got paid $33,000. So I'm a big believer in our family plan when it comes to sickness. All right, let's talk about sickness. The other thing I want to mention about our sickness policy is we can cover some situations where other companies may not be able to cover, right? And this is why I call a combined miracle. Because, for example, sickle cell. I remember talking to one lady. She had sickle cell all her life. Nobody could insure her. And when I shared with her, she was a massage therapist, and she talked about how every time she was in the hospital, she was hospitalized like 3 weeks and all this stuff, and she could never get insurance. She lost multiple jobs because of that. Imagine when I said to her, wow, we can insure you for sickle cell. There's a 2-year pre-existing clause, though, which means if you're 30 today, we're not going to insure you at 30, 31. You're not going to be insured for sickle cell, but everything else, including COVID-19, from day one, you're going to be covered for. She says, wow, that's amazing, right? So she signed up for the policy immediately because that was important. So a condition like the conditions here, there's a pre-existing condition, 2-year waiting period for that. We just exclude that for 2 years. And then after 2 years, you're fully covered up to the age 85. So that's the amazing part about it. Now let's talk about our critical illness. So we're going to talk about something that you may have a critical illness, or somebody may have a critical illness before. Traditionally in the marketplace, there's a lump sum critical illness plan, which could pay maybe $100,000 or a lump sum amount of money. And then we have something that's also exclusive, which is our daily benefit plan. And what does this do? It pays daily, and it's called a Cancer Care Protector Plan. So Combine has been on a mission, and they wanted to solve a problem. They say most Canadians over age 40, they don't have a plan like this for cancer, heart attack, and stroke because traditionally, based on research, it's been more expensive. That's the only reason why they don't have it, right? So they've made it affordable, and I'm going to show you how we've actually solved this problem, right? So most plans here, one thing you want to know is that they're lifetime plans. And why do I want to pause here? Because a lot of times I've spoken to people and they have, a critical illness plan. And I say, hey, so when does it expire? Or what's the waiting period? Or a survival period, or 30, 60, or 90 days, right? Here, and when does it expire? They say maybe 65, 75, right around the time when you need it the most. Like to me, imagine putting winter tires on. And you put them on in November, December somewhere. And then you're going to take them off in December. Isn't that like crazy? Why would you take your snow tires off in the middle of winter? That's like having a critical illness plan that ends at 65, 75. And it expires at that point when you need it the most. So let's jump in a little bit more so you can understand what I'm talking about. So we know the stats. They say 1 in 2 Canadians getting cancer. That's just the stats these days. A stroke every 10 minutes. Heart attacks happening every 7 minutes. And of course, COVID-19 causing blood clots, sudden strokes in young adults, and all that, right? We all know what's going on there and everything. However, let's talk about our cancer care. What's our solution for that? This is where Combine says, listen, we have a policy that's exclusive to us for cancer, heart attack, and stroke. And if we can get more Canadians, make it more affordable, more Canadians can get covered for the big three, cancer, heart attack, and stroke, right? So here's how this works. You can get cancer only if you're not so healthy. If you're healthy, don't take that for granted because you can be qualified for the big three, which is cancer, heart attack, and stroke. That's most important to have. Beautiful thing I love about this policy is that it's lifetime. So if you live till 150 years old, you can never outlive this. If you outlive this policy, then guess what? You've triggered your life insurance policy, right? So that means you're dead, right? This is a lifetime coverage. It's a level cost of insurance, which means the cost remains the same. And of course, it's multiple claims. And I'm going to talk about multiple claims because this is a key feature on this. Now, it pays in 2 ways. If the person is hospitalized due to cancer, heart attack, and stroke, we pay at a rate of $200 per day. And if they're doing outpatient cancer treatment, we're going to pay. So imagine this. Person is hospitalized, we're going to pay at a rate of $200 per day plus the 3 times recovery. 3 2 is 6, that's 600 plus 200, that's 800. Now, of course, we pay for outpatient surgery. So if the person's doing chemo radiation, this is where this actually complements or other sickness policy, because this is one feature. Somebody's doing chemo radiation treatment. A lot of times they're not hospitalized, right? So they're doing it in an outpatient facility. And this is why this plan actually complements that plan, because it's going to pay them what? $200 per day plus the 3 times recovery. That's actually $800 per day on this particular plan. So let's just see how this works. What is this multiple claim thing Orvis is talking about? This is very, very unique. And I believe you'll be interested also. Which means person purchases the policy, year 1, nothing happens, right? So they're good. Year 3, a stroke happens. So they're 30 days in a hospital. 30 days times 800, that's 24,000. And guess what? They get better again. The plan doesn't terminate like traditional critical illness plans or something like that. The plan actually goes to sleep. And then it wakes back up. Say year 5, they have another stroke or a heart attack. In year 8, it just wakes back up. Say year 12, person has cancer. One day hospitalized, but they do 40 rounds of chemo. That's $32,000. Cancer goes into remission. Guess what? Policy doesn't terminate again. It goes back to sleep. And then it wakes up when they need it the most, right? So this is what we mean by multiple pay policy. It's very, very unique to combine. And I believe you'll be interested also. So lifetime level cost, multiple pay. Now, I've saved the best for last, right? The best part is we've made it affordable. As you can see, person within 18 to 44 years old, they can get a plan for as low as $17.54. You can actually insure your entire family for $31.91 on our gold plan. And of course, the family plan, top coverage, $62.26. So there's a no-brainer. If you're 55 to 70, $37.32 or $73.10 for the top plan. So this is what we mean by we've made it. We've solved the problem. Congratulations. Thank you to Combined Insurance. You now can get your coverage at an affordable price. Hey, we want to build a strong financial house, right? Everybody knows about savings, investment, debt management, life insurance. I believe that the missing component, it's like that basement level, that foundation, is income protection and living benefit. Why? Because our bills never stop, right? So we need something to protect our income. And this is why our competitive advantage is having that living benefit. That being said, the need to pay our bills is real. I don't have to say that. You turn the news on for a minute, you're going to hear either something about some accident or something about some injury, right? It's happening all the time. You just have to say, thank God, if you're healthy and you haven't been in an accident, well, it's not, right? So knock on wood, God forbid, we don't really, wish that on anybody, but it's a reality. And we need to find a solution to be able to pay our bills in the event of an unexpected accident or sickness. So we know life insurance is great, right? We have that dental plan, massage, acupuncture, prescription drugs, and all this stuff. But the blind spot is you can't go and ask those guys, the dentist, the vision care, the chiropractor, to actually pay your mortgage or give you money to pay the bills. That's a blind spot, right? It's great to have, but that's a huge, huge blind spot that most people don't look at. So this is very, very unique. Our living benefit is unique. So my question to you is, who pays you while you still have a pulse? Person didn't die, didn't trigger their life insurance policy. Who pays you to still have a pulse? So I want to open it up for questions right now. I'm pretty much done. Thank you for being attentive. Thank you for taking notes. Thank you for listening. And I want to make sure I get your questions answered. So who wants to go first in terms of asking some questions? All right. Who's going first?
Please don't be shy. It's from Vidal here to service.
Maybe I'll pick somebody.
I have a question.
Yeah, go right ahead, sir. Shaft it.
Okay. Yes. So, it was saying up to $300 a day. Is that depending on the plan that you choose?
You got it.
So, okay. So,
yeah.
if you choose a top tier insurance plan, which is I think $56 per month now.
Yeah. For the accident, yes.
Is that going to change?
Is it going to change?
Is it going to change in terms of what the person like the questionnaire? Do we have to ask a questionnaire, correct?
No, for that plan, actually, everybody qualifies between 6 months and 69 years old. That's our accident plan. It's 56 for the top tier.
And it doesn't matter if that person has diabetes, or it doesn't matter if that person has whatever disease?
Great question, Chappie. So the accident policy, like I said, everybody qualifies between 6 months and 69 years old because it's all dependent on accident, right?
Right.
Or sickness policy is a little bit different. It's the sickness policy is what I call the sister policy, right, to the accident policy. And it's not your money that qualifies you; it's your good health. So, providing you're healthy, you may qualify for our sickness policy. That we have to run a questionnaire for. There's no blood, no urine, or medical, but we of course have to do a questionnaire for that, for the hospitalization sickness policy. Remember I said there are two different policies? One is accident, one is sickness, right?
That's right. Yeah, and if we combine them, I apologize if you've already answered this question.
Yeah.
What's the average a Canadian pays for both the sickness and accident?
Again, when it comes to sickness, one we do the qualification based on your good health first. Then we look at your age band. That's a great question. So the younger you are, cheaper it is. So person between say 16, 24 years old, they probably pay about $20 for a sickness policy. And say a $14 for an accident policy. It could be as low as $35. It all depends.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
May
Any other questions?
May I add a little bit into this, Orvis?
Is that Ankush?
Yeah.
Yeah, what's your question, sir?
No, it's not a question. So, what he was asking. So, the simple thing is this: the sooner we get these policies to protect ourselves and our families, the better it is because it's a better price. That's what I wanted to say.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, the younger you are, healthier you are, the better, right? Absolutely. Anybody else has a question?
Okay, I'm just gonna ask me. I'm diabetic. Okay, so I cannot get any more sickness or something like that.
You're diabetic, you said?
Yeah. I'm diabetic and I'm cholesterol as well. So if I want to get this one, so I'm not really available for this plan.
You said you're diabetic, and what was the other condition?
Cholesterol as well.
High cholesterol?
Well, sometimes it's controlled.
Okay.
The last visit is not really bad.
Got it. And did you have diabetes over age 40 or under age 40?
Yeah, I have it already 5 years ago. Like
type 1 or 2?
Huh?
Type 1 or 2?
Type 2.
Type 2. Did you get it after age 40 or before 40?
After, when I was already 50 years old. Exactly 50 years old, and I have that already.
50 years old.
It's like 5 years more, 6 years already. I have that.
Great. And what age were you then?
I'm 56.
Okay, awesome. So you had it over age 40. You actually qualify.
Insulin.
Is there insulin or no insulin?
No insulin.
No insulin, right?
No insulin. Just the medication, though.
Okay, that's fine. I would highly suggest that you speak to the person that invited you, and make sure you start the qualification, get your policy now, because you want to start that pre-existing clause as quickly as possible. The clock's ticking.
So that means I can get both, or just only the sickness, or just only the accident?
I believe you can get both.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because if you're type 2 diabetic and you got it after age 40, right? You providing you don't have any of the other conditions that we listed, you're good to go.
Oh, okay. That's good. other company, they won't let me.
Exactly. You've
Right.
proven the point.
So,
That's exactly what we were saying before, right? A lot of those things like sickle cell may
I
not be able
know.
to get insurance from other companies.
Yeah.
However, we do a simplified questionnaire, and the
Yeah.
person who invited you will be
Mhm.
able to do a quick needs analysis for you, and to be able to run through the questionnaires for you to just make sure that you qualify. But from what I've
Okay.
heard, sounds like
Yeah.
you qualify.
Okay.
Right. Perfect.
Yeah. Thank you.
Awesome. That's great
Orvis,
news.
I have another question, Orvis. So
Sure.
if the person gets diabetes before the age of 40, they wouldn't be qualified for the sickness benefit, or would that be excluded?
They won't be qualified for the sickness.
Period.
It's diabetes after age 40. Yeah, that's our criteria in the question.
Before age 40, they wouldn't qualify for the sickness benefit.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Orvis,
Yes.
how many claims can you make before your premium goes up?
You can make unlimited claims, and most likely your premium doesn't go up. This is called a living benefit. It's a total different concept. Great question. So this is not like car insurance, guys. Car insurance, I remember when I had my car accident, I'm still paying the premium now, right? Because the premium went up. You get into one car accident, your premium goes up. 2 car accident, the premium goes up again. 3 car accident, they may just cancel your policy. The beautiful thing about living benefit is because you're human beings. We expect accidents and sickness to happen throughout your lifestyle or lifespan. So it's unlimited claims for accidents and for sickness. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's total different concept.
I had a question, particularly for the accident plan. How does it work when traveling? Are there any restrictions set on it or anything like that?
Great. So as long as you're traveling within U.S., Canada, there's no restrictions. The policy is 24/7, 365 U.S., Canada. It is not a replacement. I repeat myself, it's not a replacement for travel insurance. So if you're going to Jamaica, if you're going to this, Mexico, or you're traveling outside of U.S. and Canada, you want to make sure you have some travel insurance.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, awesome. Any other questions, guys? Make sure we get all your questions answered. That's what we're here for. Carolina, you're still unmuted. Do you have another question?
No, I'm okay. Thank you.
All right, awesome. So if you guys have no more questions, I really appreciate you joining. I really appreciate you taking notes, asking those questions, and listening attentively. Definitely take advantage of this opportunity. The person who invited you, they're trained to do a complimentary, and I said it's complimentary for you, right? You've attended the presentation. The least we can do is say thank you. So do a complimentary needs analysis for you, and they'll be able to help you to review your current coverage if you have coverage elsewhere or something, and to be able to identify those gaps and those blind spots, and to be able to help you find the solutions to be able to fill those gaps within your budget, right? And that's most important for us, is to make sure that we can fill those gaps within the budget for you. Okay? So I thank you again for your patience, for your attention, and have a super awesome evening. It was my pleasure serving you. My name is Orvis McDowell. Have a peaceful day. Bye for now.
Thank you, Mr. Dahl.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Thank you, guys. Bye
Thank
for now.
you.
Good job,
you.
Mr. McDowell.
Thank you.
Mr. Cole.
Wait,
Okay.
Jarvis.
Thank you.